I'm going to tell you a true story about a survey that we just recently completed. In fact, we just finished it last week. It was a survey of some industrial parcels down in the city of Modesto. And the reason I want to tell you the story is it's a really good example of why it's so important to work with a good title company and a good land title officer. And I know there are people that think that I just love to bash on title companies. That's not true. Title insurance is really important. You should have title insurance on every commercial real estate transaction. And it's really important to work with a good land title company and a good land title officer. So this is a story that demonstrates that. I think it shows, even if you have a great boundary surveyor working on your transaction, that isn't the whole picture. You need a really good land title company too if you want your transaction to go smoothly. So we were hired to do a land title survey, an ALTA survey of these 3 industrial parcels. 2 of them were lots in a subdivision. 1 was a deeded parcel. And the client, the landowner, was trying to refinance or obtain financing with the land as collateral. So they weren't selling in this case. They weren't buying in this case. They're trying to do what I call financing transaction. And so the bank that they had applied to for funding, they wanted a land title survey of the property. So we get hired to do the survey. We start our field work. We get things rolling, and we're waiting for the title report. We can't finish the land title survey without the title report. And the title report was late. So we waited 4 weeks, over a month, to get the land title report. So we finally get the title report. We were supposed to finish the whole survey in 2 weeks, and it took 4 weeks to get the title report. So we're running a couple weeks behind. We get the title report. So my surveyor, Nick, and I sit down to look at the title report, and we realize that there's all kinds of problems with this title report. Okay, so the title company, not only were they late, but they just did a really crappy job putting together the title report. It was missing a bunch of the information that we needed. There was mistakes in it. Okay, so I want to just explain for a couple minutes some of the problems in this title report. So first of all, every title report has a description of the land that's being insured. So in this title report, the land description only included 1 of the 3 parcels. That's a pretty big deal, right? So the bank isn't going to be happy about that, right? The bank wants insurance on all 3 of the parcels that are being used as collateral. So that was a problem. The other problem was the vesting deed. Okay, so when I say vesting deed, that's the deed that conveys title to the current owner. The link that the title report had to the vesting deed linked to the wrong document. They linked to a notice of lot line adjustment approval, which is in California is just notice of a regulatory approval. It's not even a deed. So we didn't have the document that we needed that conveyed actual ownership to the current owner. So that was a problem. In this case, and this isn't typical, but in this particular case on this property, the tax assessor map showed several easements that burdened the subject parcel. Those easements weren't listed in the title report, which just blows my mind. They actually had a copy of the tax assessor map in the last page of the title report, but they didn't list the easements on the assessor map in the title report. Blows my mind. Mind blown, right? So they're just being sloppy, right? They're just being sloppy. Okay, so that was a problem. I needed those easement deeds listed in the title report so that I could properly map them. In this particular situation, we pulled all the adjoiner deeds, which we do on every survey. The south adjoiner, the parcel to the south of our parcels, their deed included a portion of the property that we were doing the survey of, right? So that was a potential problem. Now, that could have been okay, depending on the way the land transactions in this particular neighborhood happened. That might have been okay, but on the surface, at least, it looked like there was an overlap in the deeds. That's something the title company could have caught, that they could have helped us. They could have helped us to resolve that, but we didn't have the information we needed from the title company to do that. And then finally, some of the documents that were linked to in the title report. So some of the couple of the easements they did show, when the links to the easement deeds were incorrect. So they linked to the wrong document. Okay, so all kinds of problems with the land title report. I mean, you could just tell they didn't do a good job on this thing. Okay, so I want you to understand the problems that we had with the title report. These are not small problems. These are major issues, right? And so best case scenario, I get all this straightened out with the title company. The best case scenario is they've delayed the survey another couple weeks, right? So they were late with the title report to begin with. Then they send over a crappy title report that I gotta go in and identify all these problems and try and get them fixed. They're going to delay the survey now another week or 2, right? That's best case scenario. Okay, here's the worst case scenario. The worst case scenario is I show something on the survey that looks like a title problem because I didn't get all the information I needed from the title company, and the bank refuses to finance. They lose their financing. Now the client spent money on the title report, they spent money on my survey, and they can't get their loan. Right? And I'll give you an example. I show a line of overhead utility poles running across the parcel. The title company misses the easement. I show those poles with no easement. That's a big deal. A bank could look at that and say, hey, we're not going to finance. We've got a potential encumbrance here with no easement, right? So that's the worst case scenario. Worst case scenario is this crappy title report costs the client money and they don't reach their goal, right? They aren't able to get the financing they need. So what's the lesson? This is a true story. I'm not making this up. This really happened last week. So what's the lesson? If you're a bank or a buyer, right, don't go get your land title services based on low bid. I tell people all the time, don't go get your boundary survey based on low bid. The same thing applies to title companies. If you go out and find the cheapest title report, the cheapest title company you can find, you're going to get what you pay for, right? There's a difference between low price and good value. Okay, so you can get a low price without good value, and that's what happened in this situation. So I encourage everybody that's involved in commercial real estate. This client was a large, what I call institutional landowner. They own commercial real estate all over the Western United States. They should have a relationship, long-term relationship with a good title company, with a good title officer. So should the bank. This bank makes all kinds of commercial real estate loans. They should also have a good long-term relationship with a good land title officer. Build those relationships and then demand good service from your title company. Don't go get your land title services based on low bid, because this is what happens. I mentioned before, you can have the best boundary surveyor in the state working on your land transaction, and if you pair them up with a really crummy title company, it's going to have an impact on the transaction. In fact, it might cost you your loan. So don't do it.